Were the wealthy realm of Wakanda known for its vibranium a real state, it would surely be the Congo. In a world that functioned normally, the Congo would be the metronome of energy and technology discussions. Due to the immense amount of coltan it supplies to the planet, you can surely guess, but we all have a bit of the Congo in our hands. Of course, when you hear all this, you naturally say that the Congo is very rich and should have a standard of living that rivals Western countries. Unfortunately, the reality is much more sordid, but that does not take away from the undeniable and contagious joy of the Congolese. Yet, beneath this joy of life is a dark, painful history, written in blood. The pain and shame. Congo's current situation. I'm Mr. Ares, greeting you to my YouTube channel with warmth. I make videos to empower our Afro community and awaken their pride and awareness. Join me if you're new here. These videos make up 70% of the content on the channel, accounting for around 97% of its content. I create podcasts alongside young Africans who share a passion for broadcasting. If you're interested, we invite you to join our community. Each day we strive to cultivate this community and foster its growth. On the 10th of December, Leopold I passes away, leading to Leopold II assuming the throne as the new king. Before he was king, Leopold II traveled the world. Yet one trip left a lasting mark on him during his time in Indonesia. He realized that colonization had several advantages. Indonesia was colonized by the Dutch, and he saw that colonization allowed for forced labor, meaning no payroll. Raw materials could also be purchased at very low prices. Therefore, when he becomes king, he will passionately push for colonization. However, I explained that Belgium was a constitutional monarchy. The king had powers, but he couldn't make all the decisions. I also mentioned that Belgium was undergoing an industrial revolution. An industrial revolution requires raw materials, and Belgium had very few. And there, Leopold II naturally considers colonizing lands to secure raw materials. He will attempt to buy land in Fiji, Latin America, and Europe for colonization. It will be a huge failure. There he will naturally approach the government to seek support for his global colonial expedition project. The government is understandably skeptical since a colonial expedition costs money. Thus, they will not endorse his project. Leopold II is firmly convinced that colonization is the means to achieve economic independence for his people. Thus, he will begin to move heaven and earth to conduct his well-known colonial expedition. Leopold II is quite cunning and very smart. He will gather researchers during a conference, philanthropists, rich businessmen and politicians, and reveal the creation of an organization called the International Association of the Congo. The objective is clear. It is a charitable endeavor to civilize the indigenous people in the Congo and secure their independence. Therefore, through the AIC he created in the decade of the International Association of the Congo, he will gain support. And naturally, you might ask when he thought of the Congo, how he learned about it, and why the Congo. Let me explain. At that time, it is important to note that the Congo was one of the few African nations that had been scarcely explored by travelers. There were a few Portuguese who came quickly, but access to the Congo was very difficult because the Congo River was hard to navigate. There were rapids and waterfalls, so explorers didn't venture there too much, except there was a man named Henry Morton Stanley, a British journalist who managed to land on Congo's shores. He uncovered the kingdom and the forested lands. So, upon returning to the west, he wished to continue his expedition because he had a mission. He wanted to find Livingstone. I won't discuss that. It's a separate story. But in general, Great Britain, his native country, does not support him because there's no interest. It's very complicated to access those areas. No European country supports him as he wishes. The polder felt the opportunity. So, he will contact Henry Morton Stanley. He will offer to work together. Henry Morton Stanley is very cautious, but eventually, he accepts. And the polder is quite small-minded and clever. He will make it clear to Henry Morton Stanley that he has a true philanthropic goal to help the people and ensure their independence. Henry Morton Stanley agrees in the end. And he will tell Henry Morton Stanley to have the indigenous peoples sign an agreement that will guarantee them a certain level of independence. Most importantly, that he grants him permission to exploit the lands. In the process, Henry Morton Stanley will succeed in getting this agreement signed, which will make Leopold II the owner of about 2.5 million square kilometers. I say again, 2.5 million square kilometers. He does not own it in Belgium's name, he owns it privately. But there is a small issue. This agreement is all well and good, but it will only be valid if Europe ratifies and accepts it. And that's timely because in 1885, the Berlin Conference takes place, a conference organized with the leading powers of the world. We are talking about Spain, France, Portugal, and England. In short, they held a big conference. The aim of this conference is to divide Africa like a mere cake. So each great power will take a share of Africa. It is there that the borders are marked. To sum up, we split Africa without the Africans being aware. But there is a particular reality. During this conference, there were state entities. I emphasize state entities, so states. Still, the AIC was indeed present. Thus, after the Berlin Conference, it was confirmed and signed that the Congo is a property, the estate of King Leopold II. And from that time forward, the Congo would see its darkest moments. Initially, when Leopold II reached the Congo with his colonization agenda, he arrived with many missionaries to influence the minds of the poor Congolese. Thus, they present the good word, which is not bad, yet behind it, the message is twisted. The message is misleading as they imply that obedience is required. In brief, all actions that favor Leopold II are infused with this so-called good word. In doing so, he will exploit, siphon off, and pillage the Congo's resources. However, this entire tale will become a dramatic and bloody memory when, the close of the era began with electricity, motorcycles, bicycles. These transport methods have one common factor: the tires. Tires are made from rubber, and rubber itself is derived from EVA. And at that period, the two largest EVA producers worldwide are from Latin America and Asia. And Leopold II realizes that in the Congo, there are barely two EVA sources. Therefore, he naturally concluded he would outdo these two leaders in global EVA production and make himself rich, as they say. He aims to make money. And there, of course, the project is very simple. He thought, the Asians and Latin Americans produce a lot, but what I will do is produce astronomical quantities in record time. He, accustomed to giving baubles to the Congolese to perform his tasks on his plantations, no longer has time. He doesn't have time to joke with anyone. He doesn't have time to persuade anyone. He no longer has time to wait for the Congolese to say, okay, we will walk with him. He wants results very quickly, and that's when he will establish the Congo's public force. Considering that Leopold II sought a vast amount of EVA in record time, he had no time to negotiate. Thus, the public force will assault villages, kill, rape, abuse, and mutilate people simply because these people do not support Leopold II. So people will start, the Congolese will begin to go into the EVA fields to harvest EVA vines at a rapid pace. However, there will be an even darker reality. One must know that the soldiers of the Congolese public force are Congolese. They are all black, but they are all overseen by Belgian officers. These Belgian officers are in the minority, and these Belgian officers fear that one day these Congolese soldiers will attack them. They are afraid that the Congolese soldiers might save 10 bullets, 20 bullets each day, and that 6 months or 8 months later, they will attack. So, they will establish an inventory system to keep track of how ammunition is used. It's very easy. For every bullet fired, a Congolese must be killed. And to verify that this Congolese is dead, they will need to sever a hand as evidence. This will inevitably lead to many excesses. The soldiers of the public force will assassinate, mutilate many Congolese. What's worse is that these soldiers often go hunting with the rifles they received. And you don't hunt with just 1 bullet nor with 5 bullets. Typically, they use many more. However, they won't inform their master, their leader, or their superior that they used the bullets for hunting. They will tell their master that they have executed Congolese who were unruly, and to prove it, they must send hands. So they often catch Congolese and cut off their hands. I'm not talking about adult Congolese men. I'm talking about adult Congolese men, Congolese women, and Congolese children. In short, you get it, everyone is affected. During this period, the 23 years of Leopold II's reign, we talk about approximately 2 to 10 million deaths. Of course, the 10 million deaths were not solely due to severed hands or gunshots. This was due to various factors: famine, poverty, and the poor living conditions created by the overcrowding that Leopold II brought to the continent, and naturally, the murders. As always, there will be a historian who rises to say that the figures are incorrect, that the numbers are exaggerated, and that the themes are not right. What I've noticed is that when it comes to African history, there are always scholars who have a gift for challenging the writings, but when it comes to other histories, there's no one left. So, generally speaking, Leopold II will murder the Congolese people. But there will be an opportunity. Since the country welcomed missionaries, Protestant missionaries showed up with an object that would change everything: cameras. In those days, they used big cameras with the iconic flash in the shape of a flame, but other more portable cameras arrived. Thus, these missionaries captured images: severed hands, kids with one hand, and kids without feet. These photos traveled the world, arriving at the highest echelons of international institutions. Pressure started to build. Consequently, the Belgian government, feeling trapped, would grab the Congolese territory from Leopold II. I should note that Leopold II called this land the independent state of Congo. Just the name itself is a huge farce. In short, the Belgian state would snatch this territory from Leopold II and rename it Belgian Congo. Naturally, you might think, hooray, wonderful, Congo will finally enjoy better times. Regrettably, the story doesn't improve, I have to say, as they stopped indiscriminately severing hands. However, the outcome was not positive at all. The Belgians arrived, and we continued to increase the presence of missionaries. However, forced labor continued. Murders persisted. A sort of empathy was created. Therefore, Congolese were not permitted to live in some regions of the country. Congolese experienced a certain animosity and could not go out. They had no access to all the services provided. Only whites could access all the country's wealth. Therefore, in this context, Congo was ravaged. Congo was stripped of all its resources. Also, in the mid-1920s, a man named Simon Kibangu emerged. A man who arrived with the Christian faith, certainly, but authentically revised, with essence, yet free from the nonsense meant to indoctrinate and control the people. Clearly, this man would draw many followers because his words connected with people, and he also performed miracles. So it was clear that the Belgians felt threatened. The religion that was taken to oppress, enslave, and dull the people, this same religion is being used by a man to awaken awareness. I won't delve into details because I believe that one day, perhaps in December, I will create a video. I have video segments planned about Simon Kibangu. In any case, this man is so disruptive that he will be arrested, tried, and sentenced to death. So, the Belgium will continue to siphon, plunder, and assassinate the Congolese. Until a time, by the end of the 1950s, a new elite referred to it's shocking. He begins to say, colonization was positive, Leopold II is a genius, We give you independence as a gift for Congo to advance. Belgium will need to assist you. In short, Joseph Kasavubu, Congo's president, takes the stage and makes a speech. In short, Patrice Lumumba, Congo's prime minister, is not scheduled to give a speech. People in attendance say that Patrice Lumumba started scribbling a speech and took the floor, and his remarks were literally a monumental rebuttal of King Baudouin before the entire world.